Skin shoes. In the horror movies and chilling narratives, we often witness grotesque creations fashioned from bones, skin, and other macabre materials. While these concepts typically reside in the realm of fiction, history reveals that the lines between reality and the ghastly imaginings of Hollywood can be disturbingly thin. Consider the infamous George Parrott, a notorious figure of the American Wild West, better known as Big Nose George. A life of crime defined his existence, from cattle rustling to the robbery of unsuspecting travelers. However, Big Nose George's story took a dark turn when he was apprehended, tried for murder, and ultimately sentenced to death by hanging. Upon his execution, nobody came forward to claim his lifeless body, leaving it at the mercy of fate. This situation drew the attention of two curious doctors who happened to be present at the time. One doctor, driven by the pursuit of knowledge, went on to dissect George's brain, seeking to unlock the secrets buried within. But the other doctor veered down a much darker path. He meticulously tanned George's skin and transformed it into a pair of shoes. This bizarre tale serves as a reminder of the unsettling realities that can lurk behind the seemingly ordinary, blurring the lines between human curiosity and ethical boundaries. The North Pond Hermit. The North Pond area of Maine's Belgrade Lakes is often regarded as one of the most serene locations imaginable, evoking images of tranquil nature and peaceful living. However, for nearly 3 decades, this beautiful landscape was shadowed by an unsettling problem. Over 1,000 reports of break-ins occurred at the resident cabins, leaving the community on edge. The perpetrator evaded capture time and time again, and the thefts typically happened when the owners were away. Curiously, these incidents spiked in frequency just before Memorial Day and after Labor Day. As the break-ins continued, the rumors surrounding the mysterious thief began to take on a life of their own. Local residents spun stories and embellished details, creating an urban legend around the elusive figure who lurked in the woods. Speculation grew as to whether the crimes were the work of a single individual or a group, and with each passing year, many began to lose hope that anyone would ever be held accountable. The legend persisted until April 2013, when a police officer apprehended a man named Christopher Thomas Knight. His demeanor was unusual. He displayed an odd attitude, refusing to answer many questions posed by law enforcement. When asked about his actions, he expressed shame. Knight's story would soon unravel in shocking detail. He was a hermit who had lived in the North Pond area for over 27 years without any meaningful human contact. In fact, he had only exchanged greetings with a single hiker during that entire time. When questioned about how long he had been living in isolation, Knight claimed he had lost track of time and attributed his decision to withdraw from society to the Chernobyl disaster, stating he was merely 20 years old when he chose to become a hermit. Though he didn't provide a concrete reason for his choice, it was clear that Knight had gone to extreme lengths to avoid human interaction. He used peculiar methods to maintain his privacy, such as refraining from lighting fires and always moving during the night to avoid detection. Remarkably, Knight had little to his name aside from the glasses he had kept since high school. His survival depended entirely on the thefts he committed, taking only what he needed from nearby cabins. When authorities discovered him, they were shocked to learn that he didn't even know what the internet was, revealing the extent of his disconnection from modern society. Knight was sentenced to 7 months in prison for the thefts. According to local authorities, he has since returned to living a quiet life in rural Maine, further adding to the lore surrounding the enigmatic figure who once haunted the woods, the Green Man. The Green Man, also known locally as Charlie No Face, was a man named Raymond Robinson who walked the empty roads of Beaver County, Pennsylvania at night. Raymond Robinson's life took a devastating turn in 1919, when at just 8 years old, he suffered horrific injuries while trying to examine a bird's nest on the Morado Bridge near Beaver Falls. As he climbed the bridge, he inadvertently touched a high-voltage power line carrying 22,000 volts of electricity. The accident left him severely disfigured, resulting in the loss of his eyes, nose, and right arm. The local newspapers documented his plight, transforming him from a mere victim into a figure shrouded in local lore. Unable to take on traditional employment due to his disfigurements, Robinson spent his days crafting leather goods at home, making wallets and belts with remarkable skill. However, it was his nighttime walks along State Route 351 between Koppel and New Galilee that solidified his status as a regional legend. His choice to walk at night was deliberate. He aimed to avoid alarming others, yet this very decision turned him into a source of fear for those who encountered him. As drivers traveled along Route 351 in the darkness, they would sometimes catch a glimpse of Robinson walking along the road. In the headlights, his disfigured face reportedly appeared to glow green, leading to the nickname Green Man. While many were frightened upon encountering him, those who took the time to engage with Robinson found him to be kind-hearted and articulate. He would often stop to chat with curious teenagers who wandered out to meet him, and local residents would offer him cigarettes or beer during their interactions, connections that were confirmed by various independent accounts and newspaper interviews. Raymond Robinson continued his solitary nighttime walks until his death in 1985. Cropsey. The Cropsey legend was about a deranged individual who would wander Staten Island's Willowbrook State School mental institution grounds after dark. In the 1970s and 1980s, Cropsey was attributed to the disappearances of many children in the area, who was often described as an escaped mental patient. In many tales, he brandished a bloody axe or possessed a hook for a hand, images that captured the imaginations and fears of the community. The legend of Cropsey found its basis in reality with the figure of Andre Rand, a former orderly at Willowbrook. Rand worked at the institution during its most infamous period, a time when patients faced severe neglect and emotional abuse. After the facility closed in the early 1980s, Rand's behavior became increasingly erratic, and he would frequently be sighted in the vicinity of the abandoned grounds, cementing his connection to the Cropsey legend. He was suspected in the cases of missing children, and his story mirrored the fears surrounding Cropsey almost to the letter, targeting vulnerable young girls and operating around the very institutions that had failed to protect them. The first confirmed kidnapping attributed to Andre Rand occurred in 1987 when he abducted Jennifer Schweer, a 12-year-old girl with Down syndrome, the very archetype of the victim described in Cropsey folklore. Ultimately, Rand was convicted in 1988 for the kidnapping of multiple young girls and sentenced to 25 years in prison. Le Loyon. Le Loyon is an urban legend in Switzerland, mainly covered by the Swiss media in 2013. Unlike many legends, this mysterious figure was seen and photographed several times over 10 years in the Jura region. The first sightings of Le Loyon were reported around 2003, with locals describing a tall person wearing a vintage military gas mask and a camouflage coat. A photographer captured an image of Le Loyon, proving that the sightings were real. In September 2013, a significant discovery was made when the figure's costume was found in the woods, along with a note mentioning the increased attention he received. Local police confirmed the find, making this a rare case of a masked figure story backed by physical evidence and official reports. The Bunnyman. The Bunnyman is a legend from Fairfax County, Virginia, related to the Colchester Overpass, also known as Bunnyman Bridge. According to the story, in 1904, a bus carrying patients from an asylum crashed, and only one patient escaped. Soon after, dead bunnies were found hanging around, especially on the bridge. The first well-known sighting happened on October 19, 1970, when Air Force cadet Bob Bennett and his fiancée were parked near the bridge. They saw a figure in a white rabbit costume who yelled at them for trespassing and threw an axe at their car, breaking the window. However, Bob's fiancée thought the man wore something different, not a full bunny suit. Just 10 days later, on October 29th, security guard Paul Phillips saw a similar figure in a rabbit suit chopping at a porch with an axe, threatening him if he got too close. After these incidents, around 50 people reported seeing the Bunnyman, but investigations by the police didn't lead to an arrest. The legend lives on, and the Colchester Overpass remains well known to this day. The Funhouse Corpse is a chilling story from the 1970s about a real human body mistaken for a creepy carnival prop. It was displayed in a funhouse for years, with thousands of people taking photos and touching it, not realizing it was a corpse. The story begins with Elmer McCurdy, a failed train robber who was killed in a shootout with police in Oklahoma in 1911. Since nobody claimed his body, a funeral director embalmed it with arsenic and put it on display for people to see. McCurdy's mummified remains eventually became part of various traveling carnivals and haunted houses. In December 1976, while filming The $6 Million Man, a crew member accidentally broke the arm of the mannequin, revealing human bone. Medical examiners confirmed it was a real body. Investigations found that the remains had been painted and used as a prop for 65 years before being discovered. McCurdy was finally buried in 1977 at Summit View Cemetery in Oklahoma. The Toxic Lady, the urban legend from the 1990s about a mysterious woman who caused chaos at a California hospital. When she arrived at the hospital, medical staff noticed her skin had an oily sheen, and when they drew her blood, it released toxic fumes that made them faint. Stories about her grew, claiming her body melted through floors and that her presence caused equipment failures. The truth behind this legend is the case of Gloria Ramirez, who came to Riverside General Hospital in 1994 with advanced cervical cancer and heart issues. Medical staff observed the oily sheen on her skin, and her blood had a smell resembling ammonia. Afterward, 23 hospital workers became ill, with several needing hospitalization. A hazmat team had to evacuate and decontaminate the emergency room. Gloria later died from kidney failure. Scientists believe her symptoms were related to a pain relief treatment she used, which might have turned into a toxic compound that affected the hospital staff. Although there were no supernatural elements, the strange events inspired many urban legends. If you want to discuss this video or suggest an idea for the next one, join to my channel KzenaTopic.
Thanks for watching. I hope you like it. Next video will be coming soon. Bye!